In this video I'm going to be installing and reviewing a Cyclops LED lighting kit in my 2019 KTM 250 EXC TPI. The stock bulb used is a HS1 12 volt 35 watt halogen bulb. While this isn't particularly dim, it's also not that bright, and particularly while you're riding off-road, it is a little bit difficult to see detail. On the last ride I did, actually, Phil decided to go off on his own and got stuck, and we had to go off and rescue him, and it got rather late and it was very difficult to find our way back. So I decided it was time to make a headlight upgrade and started doing some research. So I looked at what's available online and decided I didn't want to spend too much money because I quite often break the headlight assembly riding off-road. So I wanted something reasonably cheap, and I definitely wanted something light and not bulky, and I kind of like the way the stock light looks, so I wasn't keen on changing that too much. So basically the solution I came up with was a bulb replacement. And I looked into what's available, and there's various bulbs available on eBay, but I'm a bit doubtful about the quality. So I looked up on Cyclops, and they had a what appeared to be an ideal solution for me. So I went ahead and ordered two different kits. The one on the left is for my TPI bike, and the one on the right is for my carb model 2017, and includes a rectifier. Both of the bulbs are exactly the same. They're the latest 10.0 LED, and they're the ultra version, meaning that on high beam all four emitters are used, and should be a lot brighter than the low beam. So here's what you get in the kit for bikes with DC voltage lighting. In the middle is the LED bulb assembly, and it has a 3-prong connector. This kit has a feature where you can have both low and high beam setting. So it requires 3 wires and a 3-prong connector. And then on the left is a adapter cable which plugs into here, and then the white connector plugs into the stock KTM connector. And then there's a couple of spacers which space the light out to aim it correctly with the LED beam. And you get a sticker and some printed instructions. If you have an AC voltage powered lighting bike, which includes most carb model 2-strokes, you'll need a rectifier circuit to convert from AC to DC. And the kit I got for my 2017 250 included this rectifier circuit. So this is a $24.95 option, and it includes 2 connectors, one to connect to the LED lighting bulb, and the other to connect to the stock connector. And 2 wires are not connected when you receive it, and you'll have to look in the instructions for details of how to connect those up depending on the bike you have. Okay, I've taken the stock headlight off, and one thing to note about the install is that the parking light is not used. If you flip it over, you can see that the parking light is wired in parallel with the headlight. So if you did want to use it, you could modify the harness provided and wire that up in parallel. I'm not particularly bothered about that, so I'm probably not going to use it, but if you did want to, it's a pretty easy mod to make. And then to remove the lights, you just pull out the parking light, and the headlight you just twist and pull out, so very simple to do. Okay, a couple of details about the LED bulb. The orientation is with this shielded part down, so it would sit in the headlight like that. Also in the instructions it mentions to align this tab correctly. So you can see here on the LED assembly it has a tab here, and on the housing there's a tab, and you should make sure they're lined up together. If this is rotated around, it's not going to orientate correctly in the headlight assembly. And then an O-ring is not included in the kit, so you have to reuse the original one. I use a pick tool carefully and just push down on the inside and lift it out, and it should come out fairly easily. Just be careful not to damage it. Okay, then I'm going to install the original O-ring in the new LED housing. I've smeared a small amount of silicone grease on the O-ring. Haven't put much on, but just a little bit to help it seal and sit in the groove. Okay, so now I'm ready to mount the LED in the headlight housing, and I've just noticed this tab on the reflector has broken off from a previous ride crash. But I'm going to go ahead and mount it anyway. It should be fine for tomorrow's ride. When you mount the LED, make sure you have the orientation correct. So as I mentioned, this reflector part or hooded part on the LED should face down. So make sure you put that in correctly. And then pressing down on the outer ring, you want to press down and twist at the same time. And it's quite stiff, not particularly easy to do, but if you press down while doing it, you should be able to do it, no problem. And it's going round now. So that's partially in. I just need to twist it around a little bit more. And that's almost fully in now. So you can see now the tabs are fully engaged. And as I mentioned before, this one is missing, but it seems to hold okay. Certainly for tomorrow it should be fine, but I'll get a new one anyway. And then just to block the hole off for the parking light, I'm going to cut the original parking light off and then just push that in there. I've left a little bit of wiring in case I do want to use it again in the future. I don't think I will do, but I could wire up that easily. If you decide to use the original light again, make sure that you either reconnect the parking light or that you insulate these connectors so they can't short out together. And the next step is to fit the adapter cable. So this simply plugs in. And then with the adapter cable attached, it simply plugs into the bike's lighting connector with no modification required. Okay, so to tidy up the cabling, I've used a zip tie around this connector to hold it in place. And for this box, I'm going to stick it using some 3M double-sided adhesive tape to the headlight mask. So I'll just stick it down there like that and hold it in place. And then that should be fine. So before applying the adhesive tape, I use some alcohol to clean off both the box and the mask in that area. So it should stick well. And then I'll just push it down like that, just to hold it in place. And I think that should work fine. And this is what the LED light looks like when fully mounted. Okay, so next I'm going to do some nighttime testing, and I've got my new Cyclops LED headlight mounted in this headlight mask, and the original KTM halogen bulb mounted in this one. So I can easily swap between the two and compare them. I've set them up so the headlight beam on low points in the same way. That's quite important for the comparison, or it could appear quite different. So it'll be interesting to see how different they are. And here you can see a side-by-side comparison showing photos of both lights on low beam. The LED is much brighter, and this one is on high beam, and again you can see the LED is much brighter than the halogen. So in summary, I'm really impressed with the light output from the Cyclops 10.0 Ultra LED bulb. It also offers a compact size and reasonable cost, and as you saw, was easy to fit. Long term we have to see how it stands up to off-road riding, but for now I really like it.